Blessings, my loves. My name is Rebecca, and this is my report for Pillars of the Moon. Welcome. You will hear my voice is very croaky. Oh my goodness, it's been such a powerful week for me, and my voice is, yeah, very croaky. So I'm gonna, maybe not do such a long video today, but I just wanted to share with you my musings around this solar eclipse and new moon cycle that we're coming into. Oh my goodness. So yeah, my throat and all of this healing that's happening around my heart and my throat and my heart womb river, it's really been activated by Pluto actually. And since he's stationed to go direct a few days ago was when it was at its peak. And the gift in that is that it actually made me stop and really feel all of these things that are coming up and to be really present with my inner worlds and my inner swirlings and my processes, because we can have a tendency, I can have a tendency to just keep going. And this has enabled me to stop and really feel it all, which is a very precious gift that I was given. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you, Pluto. Ever in reverence of Pluto. Yeah, so let me just share a screen with you all. Let's look at the cycle as a whole. So every cycle has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's this cycle, the end of this cycle will see us at Samhain, or in the Southern Hemisphere, Beltane. We can already feel the veils starting to thin, and the mists here at the moment in Avalon are just so misty. It's very mystical feeling. So this whole cycle, is really connected to our ancestors, and beyond the veil. So when we have a cycle with Samhain in it, and Beltane, this really is a very deep transformative cycle, and then we are having eclipses there too. So, and then Pluto's got a big role to play because he's in T square to the nodes at the time of the eclipses, and he's just stationed to go direct. So casting back to 6 months ago, when we had our solar eclipse in Aries, last spring, Pluto was also T square the nodes, but he was 0 degrees of Capricorn. So for this eclipse, he's going to be at the very last degree of Sagittarius. So he's actually gone backwards. So there's some medicine in that and some wisdom there that's like we've had to go back through this eclipse portal for the last 6 months because his retrograde began in May, I think. And now it's like he's just started to go forward, and now we've got another eclipse. But the eclipse is happening right at the end of, the eclipse, Pluto is right at the end of Sagittarius at the time of the eclipses. So we have hopefully been journeying into our beliefs, our deepest truths. We may have been journeying to, what do I believe in? Who do I believe in? Do I believe in myself? And what is true to me? So now these eclipses are happening from this place of deepest truth and knowing. We can believe in this. So we're hoping over these, while he's been in retrograde, that we have found some of these truths and this power of our truth. And the eclipses bring change, they bring new cycles, new beginnings. So we are starting this solar eclipse from this point, this perspective of Pluto, of deepest truth. So just taking a moment to really feel into that journey and what those deep truths are for us, and what seeds we are planting this solar eclipse cycle. Our new moon solar eclipse will be happening on the 14th of October at 18:55. This is GMT time zone. First quarter moon will be with Sagittarius and will be with Pluto, of course, on the 22nd of October. Then we'll have our Hunter's full moon, lunar eclipse, in Aries, but the North Node is in Pisces. So this is on the cusp, so we are connected with this full moon on the 28th to the North Node, which is in Pisces. Eris, dwarf planet Eris, who is also in Pisces on the Cetus, head in Cetus really, Chiron, and the wounds and the wounded healer, and the energy of Jupiter and Uranus, who are also in Aries. So the full moon lunar eclipse is going to be massive. Wow, so yeah. And it's the Hunter's moon. So the Hunter's moon is the moon that comes after the harvest moon and is connected to Artemis. Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. And Artemis who is she? She's connected to the deer. I've got a picture of a deer here, a stag. And the protector of mothers and children. She's also a midwife. One of her sacred plants is mugwort, and the real name for mugwort is Artemisia. So the plant and the goddess have the same name. So yeah, the Hunter's full moon, I really feel like Artemis will be present, in helping us to midwife through this portal, because the full moon will be a big portal, this lunar eclipse, a big clearing, I feel, to do with our ancestors and the past. And then Saturn will go direct on the 4th of November. The last quarter moon will be in Cancer on the 5th of November. And then we have true astrological Samhain on the 7th. That's the exact midpoint between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. Yeah, so Saturn moving direct as well on the 4th. This is going to be good. It's like there is he's been going backwards in Aquarius now, so he's ready to actually start working on some of these new visions and moving forward. So taking us into Samhain, in Druid calendar, Samhain is our new year. So Saturn going direct just before the true Samhain, it's like, wow, no, we are really, like, Saturn is very present with this new year, and that we are taking the seeds through this solar eclipse into the dark, to really plant them down into the fertile soil of the earth, of the womb, of our consciousness. And yeah, so it feels like Saturn going direct at the end of this cycle is really helping us to see like how we can work towards these visions and dreams and seeds that we're planting at this new moon. So I'm going to stop sharing that one with you all now. I'm going to jump into the live sky. My voice is doing quite well at the minute, I think. Okay, so let's just change the time to, we're on the 14th, that's the time of the solar eclipse, and it's 18:55. Okay. So this is where the solar eclipse will be happening, my friends, in the constellation Virgo. You can see very clearly. Stellarium Web is an astronomy software you can use for free online, and you can see where things really are. So I wanted to draw our attention to asteroid Persephone. Yes, Persephone, consort of Hades, Pluto. And so Persephone has been talking to me a lot so far this last few days. And she's aligned to Spica. Spica is one of the Bohemian stars, and Spica is a really special, special star. Bernadette Brady talks of Spica being the gift of knowledge and shines brilliance on us. So it's also about abundance. The crystal emerald, the color emerald green, and it's connected to mugwort and sage. So I've already spoken about mugwort and Artemisia, so we can see there's lots of synchronicities coming through. Something that I was tuning into around the story of Persephone and Hades. In the story, I'm sure many of you know, Hades abducts Persephone and takes her into the underworld. And what I've been receiving is the energy and the story of Baba Yaga, the old witch, the old crone, the old hag, who Vasilisa, the young feminine, journeys into the realms of Baba Yaga, the underworld, to be initiated, to grow, and to learn something, and to cross a threshold. So the journey of Persephone and Hades, Pluto, going into the underworld is very similar to the journey of Vasilisa going to meet Baba Yaga, the old witch. And when we think about the young feminine being like the seed, in the center of the apple, you cut it down the middle, you have the star of Venus, and the apple has all the seeds in the star of Venus. So Venus is actually the seeds within. She represents the potential inside of all of us. Venus is also known as Persephone, Inanna. So there's stories and these tales about the young feminine seeds going into the underworld with the dark, be it Hades, Pluto, Baba Yaga. There's so many stories about old witches eating children, right? Like it's like in mythology, Hansel and Gretel, and I think what it really symbolizes is that the earth being like the old witch, or the soil or the bones of the old, and that the seeds have to journey with death down with the crone into the soil to grow. Without the dark, without the underworld, new life could not be born. You can't have a baby without it growing inside the womb in the dark first. So this journey, this whole lunar cycle, especially with Pluto, T-square in the nodes, he's the lord of darkness. And then Eris conjunct the north node, she's all connected to darkness. And then Samhain, is connected to the ancestors and the other world, other realms beyond the mists. We could be really feeling this cycle, like there's an invitation to really meet our darkness. And of course, like our darkness can be frightening because, it's all the parts of us that maybe we don't want to look at, and we might see it in another and project it on our partners or our children or our family or our community or whatever. But there's, what we're seeing externally is there's a message inside for us. And it feels like Eris is very strong this cycle. She's dwarf planet Eris, but she's actually around the same size as Pluto. So actually her and Pluto are both very strong dwarf planets on the outskirts of our solar system. And, so they are both like really big archetypes this cycle. So we could be looking at these, the underworld and the dark within, and the dark that we haven't looked at. And this is the tale of the dragon. This is the stories of our past, the karma that we've been tied into. And I had this powerful vision of like the Virgo. I've shared before that like Virgo has two faces. Like on one side, she's like the light Virgo, Isis, kind of like queen of heaven. And on the other side, she's like Nephis. She's like the queen of the underworld. She's the queen of the dark. And so now we're coming into the darker part of the year for us here in the north. We're getting to journey with Nephis, the dark face of the goddess. And it's the star speaker means a sheaf of wheat. But to obtain a sheaf of wheat, you have to first finish the life of the plant. So there is a requirement of death before you can receive. And in the act of cutting something down, you receive the harvest. And in that harvest, there will be the sorting of this and that. Just like in the story of Vasilisa and Baba Yaga, she has to sort this from that. What is good? What is not? What shall I take down to the underworld? What do I need to discard? Where are my seeds? Where are my gifts? And this is the real medicine of speaker as well. Like, where is our brilliance? And when we are rooting around in the dark of our ancestry, of our lineage, of our karma, of our past lives, we're going to find some gold. Because in the process of retracing our past, we can find some stuff that we go, oh my gosh, there's that old book that I used to love. And you'll find, and it'll remind you of a part of you that you may have lost. So this journey is holy. And going into the dark is necessary. Every time we close our eyes, we're going into the dark. Just remind ourselves that, that every time we sleep, we're going into the dark. Every time the sun sets, we're going into the dark, so it's not all that bad. It's part of life. It's part of balance. And so the Virgo, the dark face of Virgo, is the death crone or the death goddess, and she's going into the fields and she's taking that which needs to be destroyed with her scythe, and she's cutting it down. And it's in the cutting down of the old, that the new, there's then space for the new you to grow. Without that process, there'll be no space for the new. And this is the wisdom of the death goddess. She knows how she has to do this, and in there's so, you may have heard like one person dies and then a child is born. And it is like that, it's like there's an ending and there's a beginning with every threshold. And change is a threshold. And Pluto is on a threshold. Pluto is at the end of Sagittarius now. And he's T-squaring these nodes, T-squaring these eclipses. And he is like asking us, what are we releasing? What are we calling forward? And it may even be that it comes out of our hands. This can be the power of Pluto and Eris. It's like sometimes the change is not exactly what we expected, but there will be change and we will be moved in ways that we need to move in. And that can be scary, of course, but actually when there are endings, when things get taken away and maybe people in our lives might move away, or we might change jobs, or whatever it is, that ending is necessary for some kind of beginning. So in a way, the bigger the ending, the bigger the beginning, So yeah, Persephone is going into the underworld. She's going to be incubating all of these dreams. So really tuning into the energy of Spica. Spica is a powerful Bohemian star, and you can work with her. Use her energy to really help us illuminate our brilliance and our gifts and our magic. And then to really, you can work with seeds as well. You could plant bulbs in the garden and plant intentions into the earth around this new moon. There's lots of different ways that you can honor this energy. Working with the earth is a major part of it. You know, you can work with sage and mugwort, emerald. You could wear green. You know, there's so many ways you can honor this energy. And yeah, that will really set us up for this new cycle that's coming. You know, really honoring our ancestors as well and our lineage and all that has come before us and all they've been through and how it's, you know, taken us to where we are now. And now we can do this great work of the death crone to release the ties that are no longer needed and to make space for the new life to come in. And that is the great work of today, because we've got such great forests that are just waiting to be born. But we first have to clear away all of that isn't working before the forests have space to grow. So yeah, that's my little slice of things today. So anyway, jumping over to the new moon solar eclipse chart. I've already started drawing on it a little bit. So Eris isn't in my chart, but Eris is around here. So Eris, the dwarf planet that I was talking to you about. I feel like she's just as powerful as Pluto, if not more powerful than Pluto. So her conjunct the North Node with Chiron in Pisces is deep. It's really deep. And it's like, I felt her yesterday and it was like, wow, no, we really have to honor this darkness in all of us, because this is collective. The nodes of the moon right now, that is collective. And so Eris and Chiron, it's like, heal our darkness, heal all the shadows that we haven't wanted to see, you know, and that is our destiny. For us in the UK, it's in the 13th house, which is the house connected to that which is hidden. So all of the darkness that's been hidden from ourselves, that we've hidden from ourselves, or that, you know, has been submerged in the underworld. So this cycle, we are journeying into the underworld and we are seeking for wisdom, for knowledge, to really work with these energies. So looking over here at the solar eclipse, you can see you've got Mars, South Node, Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Pallas. It's quite a party in around this solar eclipse. And of course, Pluto has just started going forwards and he's in T-square to these energies. So you can see where he is. He's right at the end of Sagittarius. And when he moves into Capricorn next year, it will be a whole new beginning for us. You know, he's been in Sagittarius for a really long time. He moves so slowly. And he'll be in Capricorn for a really long time. He moves slowly, you know, so it's not gonna, it's a huge deal when he moves signs, you know. So we're now sitting at this point with these eclipses, and Pluto is T-square in the nodes again, but from a different place, from a place of truth, belief, and power. So when we really know inside what we believe, when we really feel what is true for me and what is not, we can set boundaries around, you know, what's okay for me and what is not. And it's a really strong place to be. You know, the last degree of Sagittarius could be like the visionary, the oracle of the cosmos. You know, the way that the whole cosmos works. You know, like that's the deepest truth of the cosmos, the cosmic order. So, you know, feeling that these inner truths and these inner beliefs inside of us, it really gives us some guidance as to what is being required of us now. It's to become that truth, to live that truth, to speak that truth, Mercury is conjunct the new moon solar eclipse. Speak that truth, speak what we believe in, and show our brilliance. Share our knowledge and the gifts that we have acquired from this place of power. We need to announce our power into the world. And then, in January, when Pluto moves into Capricorn, it's time to build. It's time to build a life that is centered in this place. So whatever we're feeling now around these eclipses, it may move us, it may shake us, it may change us, but to really stay curious and, really pay attention to the way that we're being worked and moved and initiated, because we may be redirected, and that redirection is going to enable us to really embody our deepest truths, our deepest beliefs, and be ready to start walking that talk, stepping into that path of power. And, come early January, we will see Pluto into Capricorn, so Pluto into Capricorn is going to have a lot to do with our banking systems, the structures and the governments and the systems that have been governing us for so long. Pluto going into Capricorn is really going to call that out and bring up all of the shadows and all of the darkness within the structures and systems of our world and inside of us. So it's good to really feel into this place of belief and power and trust and faith in ourselves, to know that we are moving towards building new structures, because the old structures are likely going to fall, because Pluto is not going to leave any stone unturned if it needs working on, and we know there's lots that needs working on in our world, right? Pluto actually, I feel, has got a lot to do with balance, because like I said, in the death of something comes a life of something. So all that will be destroyed as Pluto moves through Capricorn for the next, 20 years or something? I can't remember. It's a long time. It's going to change this world drastically. And his journey through Sagittarius has been about finding our spiritual beliefs and our truths, like I said. Until we've got that, until we've found that, who we really are, we can't build from an authentic place. So there's such magic in all of it, right? So yeah, Pluto as well, he's going to be in trine to Jupiter in Aries, Uranus in Aries. It's also in trine to Venus and Lilith and Juno over in Leo. So this can bring a real fieriness to it as well at the new moon. But Jupiter and Uranus is very expansive, revolutionary. Jupiter's all about our beliefs as well, so Jupiter in Aries is like, let's begin a new cycle around our beliefs. We might find ourselves finding a new spiritual practice, or becoming, our own teacher, or we may find something comes into our life during this cycle that's going to go, wow, and with the Virgo energy, we may find, that we're working a lot with our health and our well-being. We may, like I'm having now, have a good purge or a good release, or we may get sick. We may get to, tend to our body and our well-being. This is the medicine of Virgo. And trust in the process. Trust in all that's moving. Saturn is in a grand trine with Vesta in Gemini, and Mars and the South Node and the Sun and the Moon. So this is also really good energy to be working with, or that we're devoted to, all those structures and systems. And Saturn is still in retrograde, about to go forward at the end of this cycle, so it's really, he's deep in his reviewing of all the things that he wants to build, or that he could build, or that he has built, and all of the work that he's done, all of the responsibilities that he's has, so it's a really good time to be really tuning into these seeds, tuning into Persephone, Venus, and that the seed that's kind of come down into the underworld. And in the spring, we have another load of eclipse seasons. So in the spring, all of these seeds that we're planting now will be born. So it's time to incubate them. It's time to incubate our dreams. The first quarter moon will be in Sagittarius with Pluto. So Pluto's not being quiet this cycle, is he really? Look at that. Boom. And of course, yes, T-squaring in trine to Uranus. Black moon Lilith is in grand trine with Uranus. Oh my goodness. This is really transformative energy. Like, no doubt about it. This is really dynamic energy. The first quarter moon, 22nd. Uranus is at 22 degrees as well. And Lilith over at 5 degrees of green Virgo now. So she's moved away from Venus now at this time. So this could really get our energy moving. And Lilith is connected to the dark and the shadows and the feminine and the serpent and so actually Lilith in trine to Pluto, in trine to Uranus and the moon, as we are waxing in the cycle, it's like really rowing that energy of the dark. And we might find ourselves deepening into our sexuality, our darkness, all that we're scared of, our shadows. And finding through Uranus, we could find like we are like breaking through some really old stuck patterns. Thank you, Uranus. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to go into the full moon now because I'll come back in 2 weeks to do the full moon lunar eclipse with you. And I need to rest my voice as well. Hopefully I will be feeling better soon. Yes, I just wanted to share the screen with you all about this beautiful image I've seen about Baba Yaga and Vasilisa. So there's so much in the mythology, around the old woman and the hag being bad. And, I actually just think it's just our relationship to the old and death that gives us that idea that the old witch is bad. But actually, the death crone is necessary part of balance. She knows that. But as a culture, we've kind of forgotten that, But this child, Vasilisa, she's really Venus, Persephone, the seed in the center of the apple. It's just so magic, like, to look at it that way. And actually, Vasilisa, or the seed's journey into the earth, to meet with the old, brings her new life. It's a necessary part of the process. So yeah, so that's all from me. I need to go and have a good cough, I think. But yeah, sending you so many blessings for this solar eclipse cycle. Wow, it's going to be big. I can feel it. So yeah, just sending you strength and love. We're all in this together. Reach out to your community if you need. Support each other. hold each other through these times. Blessed be, blessed do. In love from Avalon. Bye for now.